So let's talk about rain. Now rain can be a real downer for landscape photography, and on Skye we get much more than our fair share of it. Now I've learned to love the rain on Skye, and it can even sometimes be useful for producing images, but sometimes it just seems relentless. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I found a great location and went out at dawn to shoot it. Now the results were good. The light and location were fantastic, but it hadn't rained for a week or more, and the waterfall was less than spectacular. But for more water in the falls, I needed rain, and lots of it. Now in autumn, we don't have to wait long for the rain, and Mother Nature willingly obliged, which meant plenty of time spent indoors, editing pictures and videos, reading, and even resorting to watching TV. Oh, and constantly checking the weather. But then the forecast changed, and the sunny conditions that were forecast promised the chance to get out and check out the falls once again. So I ventured out just after the sky had started to clear, hoping for a sunset. And the water cascading down the burn was certainly looking promising as I approached the start of the route up to the falls. But the ground was completely saturated, so without a real path, the walk up was pretty wet and pretty sketchy. Now on the way, I explored several smaller cascades that I'd ignored previously because there wasn't really any water in them. And as the sun intermittently broke through the clouds, I got a few shots, but my real target was still a little way up. So in anticipation of sunset, I made my way up to the viewpoint. Now as expected, the falls were transformed from my previous visit, with gallons of water rushing off the mountain. So I set up a shot and was preparing to wait for sunset. Now the light wasn't perfect because the sun was behind me and my shadow was visible on the falls. But as the sun disappeared behind a cloud, I did get a few shots. Then, an hour before sunset, the cloud rolled in again and stayed until after sunset, so I'd have to wait another day to get my shot. Now a couple of days later, yes, after a bit more rain, the forecast was looking good for sunrise. So about 30 minutes before dawn, I made my way up to the main falls. There was still plenty of water in the falls, though it was a little less than my previous visit. So I started to set up. But just as the sun started to rise over the horizon, the sky over the mountains was completely clear, and I thought I was going to have another wasted trip. I did take a shot, but it wasn't that great, due to the clear sky and lack of any real colour. But I decided to stick around. Behind me and to my right, the cloud was just starting to build and also light up in the morning sun. But frustratingly, it was still pretty clear where I wanted to shoot. Then, as if by magic, Mother Nature decided to reward my patience, as the cloud, and yes, a little bit more rain, moved overhead, and over the next 10 minutes or so, the sky and clouds over the mountains lit up in a riot of colour just as I'd hoped. Now, I opted for an upright composition, using the strong diagonal line of the water from the bottom left to lead the eye up towards the mountain and the sky above it. I focused on the rocks almost in the centre of the frame to maximise the depth of field. I also used a polarizer to enhance the colours and an ND grad to balance the exposure between the sky and the foreground. So having got my shot and been really happy with the result, I decided it was time to head home. Yeah, it had rained, but this time the rain had been my friend.